Welcome back, guys. Well, today it's a little cold out, -15, and we've been in the deep freeze for a while. But even though it's been so cold, I'm planning my next adventure. What's that going to be? Stay tuned to find out. Going for the walk in the woods today is really getting me stoked for my next adventure. That's going to be some winter camping. So as you guys remember, last year went out and it was an awesome adventure, and I was so excited to do it again. Winter is one of the best times to camp because for me there are no bugs, so that is a huge bonus. So just thinking of, the next adventure, it's going to be happening in the next couple of weeks. We'll have to see what the weather's going to bring. It's -15 today. We had about a couple weeks in the -30s with wind chill down to -40. And believe it or not, yesterday we were, I think, near +10 with rain. All the snow around me was almost melted yesterday. In the warm temperature, we had rain. And then we had a blizzard overnight and the snow is back. So that means time to get ready for winter camping and making a list and checking it twice. So this year we'll be testing out some new gear, which I'm going to show you. And again, I'll probably be camping with a few buddies, and we're going to be going out in the woods, probably near our cabin. And I'll probably be using the hammock again this year, but we're testing out some new gear. So let's go inside now, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to be packing for this trip. Back inside now, I'm going to give you guys a bird's eye view of some of the things I've started getting together for the camping trip. So I've got sort of examples of, gear I'm going to bring, as well as, some clothing. We'll go over that. So let's get right into it. So this section of the table here, you can see I've got, my buck knife there, my ferro and new holder that I made. Got my little Gerber knife there, the Gerber Vital. It's a really nice knife. Got some paracord over here, can never have enough of that. My whistle, my tinder starting kit. Over here I've got a couple of flashlights. And for emergencies in the bush, I've got a little first aid kit. I'll probably bring the big first aid kit as well. And my spruce bomb. So that stuff is a miracle in a jar. It's really good for your hands, and I had some pretty major cuts on my hands this winter, and so far so good. It's healed them up really nicely. Of course, you're going to bring your personal effects, your toothbrush, your toothpaste, your face cloth. This is an example of some of the stuff for the kitchen kits. We've got a pot, my mugs, my little Stanley cup set, cutlery, a little thermos, bigger thermos for bigger treks. Of course, over here I've got some tin foil and some tongs for at the fire pit. Right here I've got my favorite bag, so I'm going to pack some of my gear in that. That's just for sort of the woodland gear. I'll have a different backpack for the putting all the clothing in. Moseying on over here, I've got the Teton sleeping bag. It's good till about -20, -25. So that is going to be really handy. I got a second one this year so that both of us have a really nice warm sleeping bag. Of course, you guys know last year I camped out in the winter with a hammock, and I plan to do that this year as well. But I want to show you something really cool over here that that'll maybe be a game changer for winter camping. It's really inexpensive too. So this is the one we're going to try out now. This is a winter tent called the Rio Rand, and got this off Amazon for like $100. So you really can't get winter tents that cheap, so I'm really excited to try this out. So I look forward to giving you guys reviews on the products that I used this year on the camping adventure. Last year was lots of fun, but I just want to see how things are going to work with the tent this year and with the additional Teton winter sleeping bag. I think that's going to be awesome. Of course, I'll also bring mats, sleeping mats for our trip, as well as tarps and things like that. A lot of our gear is right now, it's up at the cabin, so I can't show you all of it that I'll be bringing, but you'll definitely get to see that in the winter camping video. So on this side of the table, you can see I've got the hatchet and an axe here. Last year we didn't bring this. I brought the machete, and I really missed this, so we'll want to bring the axe this year. This is sort of my little chair. It's waterproof. I can kind of lay this on the snow and stay comfortable. This right here, I'm going to be bringing the sled again, the Pelican, and this is a cover for the Pelican sled. So basically, it's new. I'm going to cover up all our gear with it as we're traveling in the snow. Because last year I found that a lot of snow and water kind of got in our gear as we were trekking, and that really kind of made a mess with everything. So I got the little cover this year. Hopefully that'll kind of keep things out, especially if we were to dump the little toboggan, then you know, it's not too big of a worry. It does have like a little elastic kind of grip around the edge of it, so it'll keep our gear nice and safe. This year also we're going to be bringing some pads for sleeping on. Last year, one of the reasons why I also got this Pelican cover was that one of the sleeping pads fell out of the sled, and we found it in the spring and a bear had completely ripped it apart. So going to have to get a new one of those as well before our trip. And of course on this end of the table I have snowshoes. So these are the modified bear paw snowshoe, which is great for moving around in thick brush. Let's give you a little close-up of some of the stuff again. Again, these are just examples of what I'm going to be bringing. They'll probably be modified over the next couple weeks as we're getting ready for the trip, but this is a good start at least on getting things together. Now let's go over some of the clothing choices that I'll be bringing on the trip. So here's some examples of clothing I'll be bringing. I'm just kind of amassing them right now. So important to dress in layers in the wintertime. So after your undergarments, you're going to be wearing, at least I'll be wearing one of these lovely thermal shirts as well as thermal pants as well, like leggings. These ones aren't wool. I mean, wool would be ideal. They are some, I don't know, a technical fabric meant to keep you nice and warm at cold temperatures. So I've got that as my underlayer. Over here I've got a couple of examples of shirts, like a t-shirt and a long sleeve shirt that I can wear. Also I've got a couple of nice hoodie sweaters. So those are nice. They kind of go up over your head so the wind and snow doesn't kind of come down and get down your back, you know, when you're hiking around. So got some of that. Just gonna grab these. These are my Fall Raven pants. These, you remember, I waterproofed earlier on in the season, so they are ready to go and I've been using them faithfully. I really like them. Towards the middle of the table here, you'll see wool socks. Wool socks are my favorite thing to wear in the wintertime. They keep you nice and warm, and they don't retain odor. So excellent. So I'll bring a couple of pairs of those at least, as well as some other thinner socks as well that I can kind of change out. In terms of the outer layers, obviously you've got a hat, balaclava, depending on how windy and cold it is. Some really good ultra warm mitts there. Those Manzellas are great. I've had them for a long time. And over here, of course, my mucklucks. I'm really happy with these guys that I made. I want to show you so far the wear on the soles. I have had many kilometers on these, and you can see that they stay on. That rubber coating is lasting really, really well. One thing I would recommend, as you can see particularly on this shoe here, you can see where, you know, the rocker part of the toe here, this will wear a lot sooner than the rest of the shoe. So I think I'm going to extend up that rubber dust up the toe. I think that's probably a really good idea. And like with anything, you're going to want to maintain this and inspect it after seasons of use. So really happy with these, very warm, really, really snug as a bug in a rug when I wear these out in -20. And of course over here we have the anorak that I made last year. So this is a really good windproof outer layer that I'll be wearing. I'd probably wear another warm sweater underneath as well. Again, layers, very important. And there's the sash that I completed. It wasn't completed by last year's camping adventure, but I've got a really nice looking belt for it now. So really awesome to wear that. And last but not least, on my legs, depending on the weather conditions, we've got the waterproof thin pants over my Fall Ravens, or if it's really cold, I definitely have my nice thick snow pants. So I also have my bright orange outdoors pants as well. They are waterproof. So I'll have a few options for the very outer layer of my pants, and I'll have to make that decision closer to the time as to what I'm going to bring. Well, I'm going to still brainstorm a bit about what I'm going to bring clothing-wise. I'll probably bring another insulated jacket or vest to wear as another layer underneath the anorak, depending on how cold it's going to get. Also important to think of, you know, backup clothing, duplicate clothing. For example, if you fell through the ice or you had freezing rain or sleet on your trip, you want to make sure you've got backup clothing, you know, socks, scarves, hats, mitts, something to keep you warm, as well as maybe an extra shirt or pants just in case you were to get really wet. It adds weight to your gear, but you would hate to be without it. So in regard to food, I really am getting started with it right now because I don't want to rush at the last minute. So there's a bunch of us going, so I'm trying to make a few little things here and there. One thing I've really worked on is dehydrating a large pot of chili, and it went really, really well actually. You'd be surprised how much water is in your food, so I'll show you in a minute how much we have left after that huge pot of chili that I made. I dehydrated it over a period of many hours, and then we can rehydrate it quite easily in the woods. Also, I'm working on making some fruit leather, so let's take a peek in the kitchen and see how things are looking. So in here I wanted to show you some of the fruit leather. This was originally on some paper. I'm just doing the final dry out here, but here we've got strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, peaches I think, and applesauce. So you can see it's really flexible. This was sort of like a mush earlier. I had it on some parchment paper on the dehydration trays. Still a little bit to dry, so I just took them off the paper to finish up the drying cycle. So got some in there, and I will be making some more, but I'm really pumped about this. It looks really good and it tastes fantastic. And here's what's left of that big pot of chili. Look at that, it's so light, fits in one Ziploc bag. This probably will feed about 4. I'm gonna make another batch, I think. And going over to the kitchen scale here, look at that, 188 grams. For you guys in the US, that would be 6.6 ounces. So that big pot of chili we're looking at earlier, that's all that's left of it. It's really light, so it's really important I really like dehydrating food for going on camping trips because it really cuts down on the weight, considering you're bringing all kinds of gear. I'm also going to be making some granola bars and you know, just a few other things here and there. We'll be bringing oatmeal for breakfast. Others will be bringing food as well, so I don't want to kind of overwhelm everybody with tons of stuff, but just getting ready a few things for everyone. And for those into, you know, preparing for disaster situations, you know, while times are good, it may not be a bad idea to, you know, prepare meals and dehydrate them, because you never know when you might be without hydro, but you could make a fire to heat water to rehydrate meal. Also those, you know, little fruit roll-up things, those are great for kids for lunches and stuff, and you kind of know what's going in them, you know, your fruit. You can add a bit of spices in there, whatever you'd like. So I picked up that dehydrator really inexpensively. I think it was at Excess Cargo or something. Really inexpensive dehydrator. You know, prices go up from there. Some of them at Cabela's are about, you know, $300 when you're doing your jerky and you want to get precise temperature settings. Mine is just blows hot air and has a little electric coil kind of at the bottom. So nothing super fancy, but it really does the job. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, just a little flavor of what's to come, and I'm getting excited, getting things ready for winter camping. If there's something that you think I should bring, leave the message below in the comments. Hope you guys have a great week. Take care.